2 of Counselors in Cars. I'm Dr. Rahman. I integrate spirituality and positive psychology to create unique approaches to wellness for you. So today, we will be addressing a huge issue for counselors. That issue is the issue of boundaries. How do you deal with boundaries inside your practice, outside your practice, in your personal life? You know, what tools would you recommend? So today I'm going to be interviewing my friend Jehan, who is also in the field, and she will also ask me the question. So let's get down to it.
Cool. All right, so we'll take it away. How do we go from here? All right, so Dr. Rahman, talk to me.
Yes.
Talk to me about, okay, you tell me which way you want to go. Do you want to talk about boundaries and how you handle them in your own everyday life, or boundaries and how you handle them with your patients in session? Which would you prefer to kind of address, if not both of them?
Oh my gosh. So actually, this is totally wild, but can I set a boundary right here and just ask you to go first?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is Counselors in Cars.
Right, and you're actually doing it live.
This is totally perfect. Okay, sweet. So I will go ahead for, okay, so.
Sorry to pop that on you.
No.
It's like,
no, you're totally good.
I need to sort of get aligned before I jump into things.
Okay, so, which question should I answer first?
So, I guess whatever you feel, like, what would you like to speak to on the issue of boundaries? Like, whatever comes to you, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, on the issue of boundaries. Okay. Take a moment here and figure out which one.
Let's both take. Let's all take a moment.
We're all
together.
taking a
We're
moment.
taking moments. Okay, let's do it.
Right.
Sometimes it's all about taking a moment. That's the answer, right?
It's like thing 1. Driving when doing therapy. No.
This is totally experimental, but it's going really well, guys. We're fine. Don't worry. It's all good.
We're also using cruise control. We highly recommend that if you do counseling in car sessions, then 1, you have to be over the, no, I'm kidding. Okay, so
we're good.
First thing with respect to boundaries. Actually, you know, the first thing that's coming to my mind is actually like boundaries in session, which, okay, I know, maybe that sounds like boring to some extent because it's like, oh wait, haven't we discussed it? But on the other hand, there are some delicate things that I can speak to from my own experience that, you know, it's kind of like it goes without saying, but it can really change the dynamic of trust in any relationship, whether it be therapeutic or like with somebody else. So on that particular note, I would say that one of the things that I have experienced is when someone threatens to leave a conversation. Now, it could be a therapeutic conversation, it could be an argument, it could be a discussion that's kind of uncomfortable, or it could even be that you're in the middle of saying something that really matters to you and somebody's like, oh, I gotta leave. And I think in a way, all of these things kind of have to do with like the boundary of kindness, right? So one, I would say like concrete example is, say for example, someone is about to open up a really solid story to you. Like this is something that like you can tell they're kind of like they're taking that breath, they're focusing their eyes, they're about to be like, so okay, when I was young, like this happened to me. It's like even if you have to pee, your boundaries at this point are kind of like, okay, boundaries of kindness. On the one hand, I want to be kind to that person in that heart that's going to tell me something important. On the other hand, I also need to be kind to my own body and my own needs and be able to sort of like communicate that in a way that's also kind. So I know, for example, just from like this past weekend, it's like, okay, how do you then inform others of like, okay, maybe I don't have like the threshold to listen at this time to this person. However, I also don't see that it's right to completely be like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in what you have to say, or like, or even like, I'm sorry, I'm too tired to hear it.
Right.
It's like either of those things are kind of harsh. So maybe then, or in my experience with what happened, I usually kind of go inside, whether it's in session or in front of somebody, and I'm like, all right, let me call on patience, and let me call on wisdom, and ask them both to sort of guide through this moment. If I really need to go to the bathroom, I might say from the get-go, like kind of starting it off, like, hey, I feel like you're about to tell me something really important and I'm excited to hear it. And at the same time, I can tell that nature is calling. Should I go now or should I go in like 5 minutes? What do you think? You know? And then that kind of opens the door for like both people to create the boundaries together.
Beautiful.
So it's interesting because I think when we first asked the question, it was like boundaries and with respect to professional or personal, and now it's almost like boundaries with respect to like both, but even with respect to kindness. Like maybe boundaries really are based on like what is the true just and kind way of operating in any given moment, whether it's with yourself or with someone else.
Beautiful.
So I didn't expect that to come
I
out.
know, right? It's a beautiful answer.
But that's okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
it's really cool.
is there anything coming to you?
So, actually in that, recently I had a meeting with my little brother that could speak to that, and I want to really acknowledge the beauty in that answer, because you're calling on wisdom and patience and, the divine powers within you to handle that and to have a clarity that honors both you and your client. So that is perfect for both life and for actual professional situations. I think in both cases that is so essential and beautiful.
Right.
So thank you. And one little addition I would say is that recently I had the privilege of visiting my little brother, who is, he graduated from Harvard and he's working up in Boston. So I had a great lunch with him, and he's a psychiatrist there, and he was telling me a great tool for situations like that, where you're wanting to honor the person but also have a different need, is to use the word and instead of but.
Yes.
So say, for example,
Yes.
I know that this is a really important part of your story and that you need to share this with me, and this is not a good time to do it.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful way to sort of honor them, acknowledge them, and honor that this is also not the time or space to go there. So that was just a fun little technique. To sort of, and it might feel uncomfortable at first because we're so used to seeing buts.
Right.
But there's a lot less resistance, when we say and as opposed to but in those types of situations. So that's a tip. But I love what you said, and I definitely agree that it's about centering and honoring the need of the moment.
Yes.
The highest vision for everyone involved. So.
Yes.
It.
Oh my gosh. And if it's okay with you, there's something that came to my mind while you were talking about using and. Once upon a time, and I don't even remember where I heard this, if it was a friend or a class or a colleague, there was something along the lines of the rules of improv, right? And the rules of improv is that you can never say no, which is sort of similar to like you can never say but, because but has this inclination of like, yeah, that's all great, but no.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
But so the interesting thing about improv is that in order to keep the skit going, you have to say yes and.
Wow.
So I think it's interesting that even boundaries-wise, it's almost like that yes recognizes that other, and the and fuses the two together.
Yes.
So there's the boundary between the yes and the and, but then it's but and then it's not in this place where it's like, oh well, you're separate from me. It's like and we're together.
Right.
There's a boundary, there's an identity, and we're united.
That's beautiful.
Very interesting.
I feel that. And I appreciate that I feel that really covered it in both the personal and professional arena. So I think that was just a great answer. I know,
thanks higher entities.
It's all coming.
Thank you, wisdom.
The wisdom is here for us, and we're here to share it with you. So we hope you enjoyed our episode today, and tune in for the next Counselors and Cards. Bye.